Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We would love for this interaction to be as interactive as possible. So you're welcome to put in the chat where you are joining us from today. We would love to hear from you, and we'll make a start. So I haven't said it before. My name is Tumi. Good morning. And I am a training producer at Informer Connect Academy. I am going to just give a bit of information about Informer Connect Academy in case anyone is unfamiliar. So we are a global provider of training education solutions all over the globe. In particular, in the Middle East, we've been in the region for over 30 years. And our key purpose is to connect our customers with information so people can know more, do more, and be more. And it'll be great to know thank you so much for telling us where you're joining from. If anyone's ever been to an Informer Connect training course, I'd love to hear from you, or even one of our conferences. Thank you so much. It's lovely to hear from all of the places all over the globe, literally. So our webinar today is going to be led by an extremely intelligent and well-versed in multiple things concerning communication and media. I'm introducing you to Professor Sharif. He is a communication specialist, and he has over 20 years in teaching and mentoring in communications and media. And he'll be delivering the entirety of this course next month in Dubai. And so this webinar opens up to be an opportunity to gain insight into what he believes are some key tools into stopping people from zoning out and zoning in and zooming into what you are saying. As we know, there is so much information out there, and for all of us in the professional realm, getting people not only engaged in listening, but taking away what you're saying is a key skill. So I'm going to hand over to Sharif, and he is going to really let us into what he sees are the key tips for 2025 going forward. I've just seen here that the webinar will be recorded and you'll have access to all of the information later on today. I want to say as well, if you do have questions, please put them in the chat, and I'll be working with myself and the team to ensure that your questions get to Sharif so he can answer. So over to you, Sharif. Thank you.
Thank you for the beautiful introduction. Lovely to see everyone here from all over. So let's dive in. We've got an hour to do this, and there is so much material to actually do. So let me start off a little bit unusually. Let me ask you a question. So please type in your answers in the chat. What are you most afraid of? What's your biggest fear in life? I know my fears, at least. My biggest fear is losing someone or death or anything like that. And I would think that everyone else would say, but yeah, Janan got it right. Losing someone, health issues, spiders. I think my wife would agree with you on the spiders. What is funny is that actually it's public speaking. This is the #1 fear in the world, and it is absolutely, to me, I get it, but at the same time, it's a bit absurd. Because that basically means if you're going to a funeral, you'd rather be in the casket than actually delivering the eulogy and the speech about the person who passed. And this is absurd. But there is a reason for it. When we went through our education, you went through about 25 years of education, maybe 30 years of education. Everything they trained us on was what we say. What are the words we say? How do we say it? Now, here's the issue. The words we say, they're part of our communication. Our communication is divided into the words, the way we speak them, the tone of voice, and our body language. So let me ask you, 30 years of education on the words we say, just on the words we say. What do you think their percentage of communication is? Are they 50% of the message? 80% of the message? 20% of the message we say? Yep, Federica got it right. 7%. So you spent 30 years training on 7% of your communication. You write your proposal for the board meeting. You spend 2 weeks, 3 weeks researching it, writing it, putting it together. How long do you spend preparing to present? 5 minutes? 10 minutes before when you get nervous and you get the sweats? Maybe if you panic a little bit that morning? So you spent 3 weeks on 7% of your message and 5 minutes on 93% of your message. So what's funny when you look at these numbers is it actually means how you say things, how you communicate is 93% more important than what you say. And therein lies the issue. 30 years of training about how to think, what to put together, and no training on how to communicate to others. That's why you have so many beautiful ideas, but no one ever understands you. That's why sometimes you miss out on that promotion, you miss out on becoming a manager, you miss out on talking to somebody, on communicating with somebody that you care about, whether in your personal or your professional life. It's not your fault. There's something severely wrong in our educational system when we're growing up, because no one trains us how to use our body language. No one trains us how to use our hands. That's what I get the most when people are doing presentations. We panic with our hands. What am I going to do with my hands? What am I going to do with my voice? So this is where we get into it. How do you attract attention? How long do you have before the speech begins? How long do you have to appeal to the person in front of you, to attract their attention, to captivate them? 5 minutes? 2 minutes? 3 minutes? It's amazing. 10 years ago, we used to have about 10 minutes of attention, 5 minutes of attention. Yes, Tony, you're absolutely right. Seconds. To be precise, our span of attention is 8 seconds. 8 seconds. It's really interesting because in MIT, they did this study. I really don't know why scientists did this study, but it is an interesting study. They basically did a study to see the span of attention of a goldfish. And the span of attention of a goldfish is 9 seconds, while the average span of attention of a human being is 8 seconds. And this is vital to understand, because when you started your presentation, if you started it our traditional way, I come up and I start going, my name is Professor Sharif Abdunnur. I will be introducing today public speaking and how to use your body language and help people to tune in. What just happened? That's 5 out of my 8 seconds. And I just bored the living hell out. That's the problem. We spend so much on starting in, coming and saying the normal pleasantries, the normal things. You lost my attention. You tuned out. How many of you have been to a meeting and they're called death by PowerPoint? How many of you attended a meeting where you fell asleep in the first 10 seconds and found it so difficult to tune back in and get everyone's attention? You need to capture attention from the second it begins. From the moment you walk in. That's when your presentation started. The moment I saw you, the moment you got up to speak, your presentation already began before you said your first word. Your presentation began on the first instance when they laid eyes on you. So if you walked up nervous, they feel you're nervous. Here's the trick. Human communication is a lot more instinctual than you think it is. So you might not be tuned into body language, and the person in front of you might not be trained at body language, but we still feel an instinct. You sit with someone and you feel comfortable and you can connect with them in the first second. You sit with someone for 10 minutes and you feel uncomfortable the whole time. It's not a judgment of character. It's a judgment of communication. It's a judgment about how you communicate, how you understand the other person. We always think that I meant to say this. I meant to say that. The problem is understanding what communication is. Communication is not what you say. Communication is not what you mean. Communication is what the person in front of you actually understands when you say things. What the person in front of you feels when you say something. So it's not about you. And it's not about your intention. And it's not about the words you said. It's about how the person in front of you heard the words you said. How it touched them, how it moved them, if it irritated. So when you're good at communication, you're good at empathy. You put yourself in the person's place in front of you, and you hear what you say and how they understand. That's your first job. When you start a meeting, whatever you feel, your audience will feel. So if you feel nervous and you feel anxious and you get up and you speak very confidently, the audience will feel nervous and anxious. We will feel your emotion. So what do you need to do before you get up? We call this the pink elephant experiment. And if you've been to my workshops, it's one of my favorite things to teach. This is from neurolinguistic programming, and we're going to play this little game right now. So focus on my words, and let's see if you can do this. And then tell me in the chat if it worked or not. I want you to not see a pink elephant. There are no pink elephants. Do not imagine a pink elephant. So can you tell me yes or no? Did you see the pink elephant? Yes, yes, everybody, yes, of course. All right, there you go. Why? Why is it that you all saw, everyone's going furious and laughing that they saw the pink elephant? So why is it, did you see the pink elephant? I told you not to. You're an intelligent human being. Why could you not see it? Because our brain doesn't work. Our brain works in positive imagery. We don't understand negative. The brain cannot. So your brain works like a movie. When you want to walk to the other side of the room, the way you send that message to your muscles is you see yourself walk to the other side of the room. And that's when your body is able to do that. Same thing. If I tell you not to see a pink elephant, your visual memory cannot not see a pink elephant. It will have to see it. So you will see a pink elephant. How do you not see it? Think of something else. See a zebra. See a sheep. Then you will see that. Whatever you think will happen, and this is extremely important to understand in a presentation. Visualize yourself to get up and present. Visualize everyone smiling. Visualize your success. See positive things will happen. And in public speaking, this is where your confidence is going to come. Visualize the room, walk the space, imagine the audience, and listen to the way you're delivering your speech. See yourself doing it beautifully, and you will. At the end of the day, we're always terrified of forgetting what we present. So here's a common mistake you guys will make. You'll come into the presentation, and you're excited, you're nervous, you're anxious. So what do? You start pacing. We call this an in-position dance. You start shuffling your feet. You start moving. That made me look anxious. You start stressing. You lock your body language. You lock your arms. Or you put your arms behind your back. Put your arms in your pocket. Constantly speaking with your arms clasped. We call this closed body language. And when you close up your body language, you look defensive. If you look defensive, you look uncomfortable, which means the audience is going to feel the same way about you speaking. So what do? Take a deep breath. Relax. Notice how I'm speaking to you. Do you notice my pauses? Until I told you about it, it might not have been felt. But there are natural pauses when you speak. When we come to a presentation, we get up and we do this. I'll come into my presentation. This is 90% of what we've done before in the past. I come in, I stand, and I go, Today, I want to speak to you about a very important topic. I would like to present to you about the subject we're speaking about today. It's very good for our budget. I look anxious. I look stressed. I look like I don't have confidence. Let's talk about pauses really. A 2-second pause gives you time to understand what I just said. That makes what I just said important. A 4-second pause builds anticipation for what I want to say. So if I'm about to make a big announcement next, I'm going to give you a longer pause. So what I'm about to say is extremely important. Today, you're going to learn how to be positive. So did you feel the effect of that pause before saying that sentence? Did you feel the effect of how it gives importance to what you're about to say? Okay, I'm hearing, all right, I'll try to be a little bit louder with all of you. Seems like the mics and the speakers aren't picking up. Sorry about that. Thank you for telling me. So communicate with your audience. Pause before. Now, there's something I have to warn you about. This is a quick webinar, so this is a 1-hour training. I'm going to run through things a little bit fast. So if you've got questions, you've got comments, to me very nicely said in the beginning, throw them in at any time and I'll try to get back to them as quickly as possible. Pausing is crucial. Your frame of mind, what you feel, how you think, how you visualize getting up to do this. This all makes a difference. This is going to build your ability to speak. A catchy opening. We call it a hook. And this comes from film terminology, it comes from communication. But what you want to do is have a small thing in the beginning to hook your audience. Something to get their attention. Something shocking, something surprising, something funny. The other way of attaching attention and the other way of getting good at public speaking is storytelling. We're human. We love stories. Everything about our culture is stories. That's how we've learned. That's how we have all our religion. That's how we have everything that comes into existence. It is from stories. So let me show you an example. Why do I teach this? Why do I teach public speaking communication? This is my specialty and it's my passion. And I'm going to tell you something, and it's going to make the difference for you. I was an extremely shy child. So shy that, in fact, around the age of 9 years old, my school called my parents to see if I'm mute or dumb, because they didn't understand why I never spoke. I tell you this because I felt so lonely from the lack of communication that by age 12, I joined the theater group. And from there, my passion for communication kind of came alive. And I went into studying all forms of communication. Because at the end of the day, if you can't communicate, if you can't present, if you can't speak, then you can't meet anyone. You can't talk to anyone. And you lose a huge part of what's called the human experience. Because we are social and we like to communicate. We like to get to know ideas and we like to get to know each other. And that makes all the difference. So I learned everything. This isn't inherited. This isn't a talent you have. It is not a skill you are born. It is something you learn and you practice. And I was so terrible at it that they thought I was mute. Now I'm the opposite. I think my wife and everyone might complain that I talk too much and I don't shut up. So it's the exact way that you want it to be. So that's what's good about you. Now, hear me out. If I told you the importance of speaking and I asked you the percentages of words and I speak to you about numbers, this was 20 minutes ago. Odds are the majority of you wouldn't remember. But even if I spoke to you in a year from now about why I like to communicate, you're going to remember. Because a story is always memorable. Because a story makes you feel something. And that's communication. It's feelings. A good communicator will change the way you feel. Maya Angelou, the poet, says that. She says that they may forget what you said. They may forget how you said it, but they will never forget how you made them feel. So this is what we do. We make people feel. We connect. And the easiest way to do that is to share from your stories. Find stories that are relevant to your presentation. Don't just tell me facts. I'm a human. Your CEO is a human. The people you deal with in business are humans. Tell them story. Connect in the messages. Connect in your humanity. So just out of curiosity, give me short, I want one words of what did you find. Think of a presentation or a meeting that was extremely boring. So boring you felt like you wanted to die. And tell me one word, what was wrong with that meeting? What do you think was wrong with it? Throw out words if you can, I'd love that. Monotonic, same pace of speech. Yes. Engagement, good, we'll get to that. Too overwhelming, too many facts. Dragging, no structure. Yeah. Repeated, irrelevant. Wonderful. Flat voice. No proper conversation, not engaging, too narcissistic. Okay. All right. Absolutely. Self-praising. So let's talk about these. Thank you so much for all of that. No story, not good, tidy presenter. So let's talk about all that. First of all, let's take it easy on the person who presented. We're all human, and it isn't easy. And we all are worried about getting judged by the audience. So thank you. Not able to judge if audiences are clear or understood clearly. Reading your audience is a very big art. This is one of the hardest platforms to read an audience because I can't see your faces. But the fact that you are all, and please, I want to thank you for that. Thank you so much for typing in the words. I really appreciate your attention. And thank you for participation. Showing your audience respect is one of the biggest ways to actually communicate with your audience. Showing them respect means if you ask them a question like I just did, then give them the chance to reply. And when they reply, read their replies and comment. Don't ask a question if you don't want an answer. Engage your audience. Always, always engage your audience. Try to understand that even if you are there to present, it is a communication. Whenever two people sit in a room together, we are communicating. It is not one-way story. It is never a one-way story. So if you are a team leader or you're holding a meeting, and in your meeting, no one's allowed to speak and you just speak to others, don't hold the meeting. You are not going to attract anyone's attention by doing that. You are just going to get resentment. Send an email, send a report. If you're holding a meeting, then you need to communicate with the people you meet. And somebody said about participation and engagement with the audience. So let me teach you a little trick. I want to ask a simple survey. How many people are tired today? Type in tired. Two, three, a little bit. Okay, great. Wonderful. Thank you for that. Now notice what happened. I got half or a quarter of the participation. I know you're fasting. It's not easy to be doing this at this time. It's not easy to be at work and focus when you're fasting. Now I got half of you to participate. The other half didn't participate. So what do? I then asked them, how many of you are feeling energetic today? And they'll answer. There we go. Frederica, there we go. Good. Now I got the rest of the audience. Not much. Hamad Bas says 4. Perfect. All right, wonderful. See, there we go. Now I got nearly everyone participating. And that's what I want to do. So if I ask a question, How many people agree with the presentation and half the people sent their hands up? That's great. But I still have the other who didn't physically interact with me and didn't interact with the question. They're going to feel left out. So ask the other side. How many people have a disagreement with the presentation? The other half will raise their hands. Now everyone's participating and everyone feels part of it. That's what we want to do. We want to bring in everybody into the presentation. We want to make sure everyone's involved. If you have any questions, if I'm going too fast, please tell me. I'm hoping the voice is a little bit better. I'm projecting into it. So let's see. So let's talk about the next thing about presentation. Everybody mistakes this for a presentation. Your PowerPoint, your visuals. Extremely important, right? No, not at all. Your visuals are there to supplement and complement what you have to say. You are the presentation. Your energy is what matters. Your passion is what matters. So if you are stressed or if you are tired and you get up to present with that energy, what will I understand from you? I'll understand that you are tired of this subject, that you don't actually want to do this. You can't motivate me. You can't appeal to me. You can't attract me unless you are passionate. So what will I understand if you get up and you are passionate, that you care about the subject? And that becomes addictive. That becomes something you transmit to me. Your passion, your love for what you're talking about becomes something that I can ingrain in my life. You smile, I'm going to smile. So let's talk about something inevitable, making mistakes. You're going to make mistakes when you present, no matter how good you are, and no matter how long you've been doing this. Should I know the personality of the person that I'm presenting to get his trust? Yes, absolutely. Bilal, I will get right back to you. Let me just finish this one in specific. So when you get up to present, let us talk about Bilal's thing anyway for right now, since we talked to him. Your audience, yes. The more you can know about your audience, the better. The more you know about the room you're going to present in, the more comfortable you will be. Research your audience, absolutely. Know who you're speaking to, because the vocabulary you speak to matters. If, let's say, you are an engineer or an architect and you're speaking to a room of engineers and architects, you speak in technical language. But if you are speaking to a room of CEOs and businessmen, then you need to speak a financial language to them, not a technical language to them. Your message, as we spoke about before, needs to be catered to who's listening to you, not to you. You want to convince them of what you have to say, that's wonderful. But you have to hear what your message sounds like to them, not the opposite way around. All right, so let's go back to making mistakes. Two ways of reacting when you make a mistake. You can get nervous and agitated and worried and scared and apologize. And if I forget something, I can kind of put my head down and get a little bit nervous and get like this. But what will that do to my audience? They're going to feel bad for me. They're going to feel stressed. And they're going to feel worried. On the other hand, I'm going to walk into a presentation and I blank out. And all you have to do is smile and go, listen, I'm very nervous today. This is an extremely important subject to me. I'm anxious because I want you to understand how big a deal this is and how important this is to you and to me. So because of that, I'm a little bit stressed, so please bear with me. Your audience would actually love you even more for admitting. So let me admit something to you. One of the reasons I actually like dark suits is every time I start a new presentation and every time I give a new workshop, and I've been doing this for a very long time now. It's been 20 years of doing presentations all over the world, workshops all over the world, and I'm so grateful for that. But till today, if I take off this jacket, you're going to see huge sweat stains underneath. Because every time I start a presentation, I get nervous. I get butterflies. I get excited. And that's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. Why is that a good thing? Because that's what gives me my energy. It is a great way to kind of bounce into things. Thank you for the sweet words. Sorry, we're going to miss you for the rest. It'll be recorded so you can watch it. So that energy you walk in with, that is something that people get addicted to and they fall in love with. Keep that nervousness. Keep that excitement. If you're not nervous about your job, if you're not nervous about your presentation, it means you don't care. And my recommendation is change what you do and find something you care about. Because life's too short to be doing something without passion. Find passion in what you do. Find passion in what you have to deliver. Find passion in your presentation, in your topic. Believe it. If you do that, no matter how your words go, you will infuse that in your audience and you will make them feel it. This is what you want. Be passionate. Feel your presentation. Make mistakes. Make mistakes. Admit it. It's fine. Because you're human and that makes you human to the person you're speaking to. And if you're honest and you're okay with it, then they will be too. Here's the other thing. I'm delivering my speech. I'm giving a 1-hour webinar. I've done this a lot and I know my material, but the order they come in my head, we get a little bit confused and I might forget something and I might remember something. But if I don't tell you, how will you know? You're the only person who knows your script. You're the only person who knows what you're going to say. So if you make a mistake, I will only know you made a mistake if you panic. So if you smile, nobody knows you missed it. Nobody knows you got it. Can you talk about the importance of preparation before a presentation discussion and some tips to better prepare for a meeting or presentation? Okay? Preparation. You've written your presentation? Wonderful. But that's not preparation for your presentation. You want to present? You need to present. So get a group of people, and generally speaking, if you're friends, if they are your friends, then you need to speak to them because they can't be congratulatory without actual truth. They need to be willing to tell you the truth. Get people to talk to and present to them. And my advice, get children to present to. If you can talk to 5 to 10-year-olds with your body language, with your appeal and attract their attention, then you have it. The way to learn how to present, present. Over and over and over and over and over. You repeat that presentation until you feel comfortable. The other way to do it, the other things to prepare for is this. Divide your audience into 3 segments, 3 types of people who might watch you. Let's say, for example, you are CEOs, your panel workers, people who work the same level with you, and people who might contradict you. Now, for each of these 3, write out 3 questions and 3 complaints they might have about your presentation. Prepare answers for each one. Now you have 28 possible questions and complaints, all answered in your head. So now when anyone speaks, your confidence will be higher. When anyone asks, you would have more practice and preparation. You would also have what we call an audience analysis. So these are quick tips on that. Share examples of attending an interview, meaning communication during an interview. How you present yourself in front of a decision. How do I present myself in front of a decision? What's the most important thing for that? I need to be remembered. You need to be not another number. Decision makers have hundreds of people, if not thousands of people in their company or in their sphere of influence. So you need to stand out. You need to make memorable. You need to connect. So connect with that person you're speaking with. Understand who they are. See where commonalities you can draw on. If they are someone from the business world, get to the point where it comes to their accounts, where it comes to the profit end of it, return on investment, start with that. If they come from the engineering world, start with the way the mechanisms work. Figure out what their interest is and apply your answers from what their vision is. What are the suggested body gestures when you are presenting? Okay, let me answer one, then the other. So body gestures during presentation. All right, let me start with gestures you don't want to do. Don't raise your hands above your chin level, because if you do, you might block your face. You can see me, but the person over here will not be able to see me from my hand. When you gesture, try not to always gesture the same with both hands, because if you do that, it looks a little bit monotonic and a little bit preachy. So use one hand if you can. My advice with your gestures, if you're nervous with your hands, this is a good gesture to do. Lock your hands like this. Another thing is to actually see it in your head. I'm getting a lot of quick questions, so I'm going to shorten things and answer the rest. I feel scared if there's filming. In today's world, you are nearly filmed everywhere you go by a million different things. So on one level, take a deep breath. The camera is no different than the person in front of you. Advice on being in front of a camera. So really quickly, just quick advice for filming for you to understand. Make sure you have nothing that creates noise. So paper, cellophane paper, these kind of plastics, they make a lot of noise. That will distract for cameras, because you hear that? It's a paper. It's a lot louder than me when I speak. So make sure those don't exist. What you wear when you are on camera is very influential. Do not wear anything striped or anything with lines, because the camera will get confused when it's focusing on that. Solid colors. Darker colors give you more power. Therefore, what I'm doing gives you more ability to kind of be influential in your speaking. Lighter colors make you more friendly, make you more appealing. It depends on where you want to go with it. Make sure your camera is above your eye line. Ideally, either right above your eyes or about 45 degrees above your eyes. Do not do mistakes. So right now, my laptop, which I'm speaking to you on, is on top of about 12 different books, on top of 2 boxes and 2 tables, to get it to be the level which is at my eyesight. Because otherwise, you're going to get that evil double chin and that kind of evil sorcerer look when you're on camera. So make sure your camera is a little bit higher than you. What are the 03 traits to stand out 100 from the crowd for a critical query, like a final PowerPoint? Thank you, Henry. Okay. Quick traits. Well, let me give you this first. The 3 P's of for persuasion: passion, precision, personalization. You need to be passionate. My voice tends to shake when I'm nervous during presentations. Please advise. Okay. In a presentation, there is a lot of nervousness, a lot of energy. What happened? Adrenaline just got released into your body, which is one of the most powerful hormones you can release into your body. It makes you superhuman. This kicks in flight or fight instinct. We're either going to run away from that presentation, and by the way, that's happened in a couple of the people I coached, or you're going to get into fight mode. We don't want either of them. What's happening is when you get adrenaline into your system, your body goes into huge circulation, which means you need a lot of oxygen. So if you take shallow breaths, what's going to happen is there's not enough oxygen in your body. So your body will release a hormone called cortisol. And cortisol will give you foggy brain. It will make you stutter. It will make your voice shake. By the way, the other bad news, cortisol will also make you fat. The good news is all you have to do, I will get back to the 3 P's, just let me finish this. All you need to do is actually take a deep breath. Breathing in deep, and that means pushing the air all the way to the bottom of your lungs, will slow your heart rate, will allow your brain to take the time to actually understand the message, and will stop you from releasing cortisol. And instead, if you simply take a deep breath and smile, you will release endorphins, and that will make you happy, and that will make you calm down. It sounds funny, but breathing is essential. And you think you're breathing, but what you're taking is shallow breaths. So you're only breathing with the top part of your lungs, which will make you nervous and anxious and deprive you of a lot of your power that your brain has. The 3 P's, going back. passion, energy, precision. Know exactly what you're going to say. If you're going to give numbers, if you're going to give statistics, make sure you have them right. The other thing about precision is driving it home. So we talk about the magic number, which is threes. If you notice the 3 P's of persuasion, threes. When we repeat something, repeat it 3 times. 3 is a magical number. It's what it takes the brain to understand a message that quickly. So you want to repeat, you want to be precise about what you're saying. You want to personalize it. Personalizing it is 2 ways. It's about me. So when I personalize my communication method, I explain to you my why. I told you about my childhood, my shyness. This is personalizing. If I know who my audience is, then I want to personalize also a message to them. If I know anything from their life or what their career, if I'm going to a bank, I will approach them differently than if I'm going to, let's say, a clothing sales shop, an NGO, a petroleum company, a government organization. Knowing about them, researching them, reading about them will enable you to customize your messages, even if it's on an unconscious level. Also, personalizing your vocabulary and your language to what the audience wants to hear. Are we good with the 3 P's now? All right. So we've gotten the hook. We're going to frame what we want to say, and we're going to deliver what we want to say. You're very welcome. Thank you for all your questions. Please keep asking if you have anything else you want. So again, I'm sorry about one thing, which is I have to pass through things really quickly because there are so much material and it is so interesting. So let's talk about how do you understand. May I request the record presentation be sent? Yeah, it will be. Let me code that. Zoning out during the interview. All right, great. Thank you for that. Zoning out during the interview or understanding if people are not paying attention. Let me talk to you about the Zoom meetings, the hard times during COVID, or when you're having a meeting right now. Signs that the person in front of you is not paying attention or you're losing the person in front of you. First sign of someone not agreeing with what you have to say. If you said something, my boss just said something to me, and when they said it, I looked away, or I glanced up, I glanced down. That means they didn't agree with what you had to say. Pay attention to that body language. Come back to a time where you can and go, listen, I realize that at this point that you might have had a question or you weren't interested. So let me tell you about why that's important. Now, why do I want to do that? Why do I want to go back and address anybody where I might be losing? Or if I notice that my audience is all turning away, or if I notice that the audience is making noise, if you can hear them move in their chairs when you're presenting or shuffle their papers, you might be losing. Easiest way to get them back into your attention, ask them if they have any questions, ask them what they think. That will give you a time for them to retune back in. The other way, your eyes. Your eyes are 90% of your communication tool, which means you need to look at everyone when you speak. Make sure that you distribute your vision among everybody in the room, and you make sure that you keep a balance of looking at everybody. Because if you turn your face, so I don't have a second audience, but imagine I did. So if I was to turn my face while I'm speaking to you and speak in this direction, and I'm not going to do that for longer than 2 seconds, because if I did that for simply 5 seconds, I would have lost all of you and you would have felt offended. All right, so you want to maintain that eye attention. You want to maintain your open body language to your audience. Thank you. Most of the time are not people-centric. All right, get back to that. How can I improve my PowerPoint skills, my course of practicing? How can I choose the right slides? Okay, really quickly on PowerPoint slides. They are meant to support me. So let's say I'm talking about the statistics, about 7% of the words being really important. And that appears on the slide behind me and it says 7%. That's how important words are. If I turn around to read that, I lost you and the slides are now damaging. So what you want to do is what we call the action hero pose. So imagine you're in an action hero movie. When the hero at the end blows up all the villains and he walks out of the scene. The cool thing about that scene is he walks and things explode behind him. He will never turn around to look at them. They just do that behind. That's how your PowerPoint works. You're the hero. Stand dead center with your clicker. Let it change behind you. You never turn around to look at your PowerPoint. It is only there to support you. Make sure your PowerPoint slide has no more than 3 facts, 3 sentences per slide. Make sure the colors are solid. There isn't a lot of text. It shouldn't be more than 2 lines of text, ideally about 6 to 7 words. If there's a graphic or a chart, that's great, but highlight with a box inside it. This is called visualization of data and visualization for PowerPoint. You do a whole other course about this. It's a very big topic, and what it's very important. You're very right to talk about it. Pick solid colors. These are quick tips for your PowerPoint. Make sure the font is the same throughout. Make sure there isn't too much text. Highlight the words you want repeated. Make sure they are the parts that you hit inside your speech. When we say hit a word, that means you notice how I emphasized hit. That's what we mean say it. So PowerPoint is there to support you and build upon it. But if your PowerPoint distracts from you, then it is bad. Your PowerPoint should just supplement what you have to say. And beware of this. It's extremely important to tell you this. Technology tends to have a sense of humor. It tends to be evil. So your PowerPoint will very likely fail sometime when you need it the most. Your mic will fail. The projector might fail. Always be prepared to carry the show without technology. You don't need it. You are the message. You know the material. You are the expert. You love it, and you could laugh at the PowerPoint not working with everyone else. And you can all talk about how evil the computer might be. And that'll be a commonality. You have to focus on your voice, your speech, your body language. Things we don't want to do before we present, some little just kind of health tips really quickly. No soft drinks, nothing with any kind of gas or carbonated drinks, because you don't want that upset stomach. Easy on the caffeine, because you don't want to be shivering when you're doing a presentation. Breathe. Take a deep breath while you're speaking. I know that when you get up to present, every second feels like an eternity. So if you pause, you're afraid the world just ended and that no one's going to hear you. But it's not true. For them, like that pause I just gave you, it's a great time for them to recover what you said and get it in touch. How do you strike a balance between brevity and more details? Okay. It is always better for them to ask to know more than for them to feel bored and want to leave. So if you're going to make a mistake towards brevity rather than extension. People like things to end faster, and they like to ask to know more. So if you have an hour talk, try to aim for 45 minutes to 50 minutes to finish that talk. They didn't have questions and they walk out, they will be even happy. They ask questions and they continue, they will feel like it is their initiative to talk more. So they will enjoy what you have to say. In case too much technical sessions, how do you do without PowerPoint? In case of finance sessions, give me the numbers that matter. Tell me what my last number is. Tell me when the significant number is. If you can get me curious about what it is or get me interested about that figure, then I will ask you for the rest. And you can simply say, if the PowerPoint doesn't work, you can simply say, okay, if you're interested in the return on investment, or if you're interested in solving this, let's say, financial loss, because we have too much cost on something, come speak to me afterwards, and I'll give you all the details. Your job in the presentation is to spark passion and interest. You are not, this is not it's a presentation. It is not a solution to the world's problems. So you cannot present all your solutions in detail in your presentation. That's too much technicality. Give me the material to get me curious, make me hungry to want to come and find out the rest from you. The problem is, how do I start? With something attractive, with something quick, with something you're passionate about. Give me a fact. Give me something interesting. Give me something that changes the way people see things. What is the best way to finalize your speech? Repeat parts that are important. And take me out with what we call a call to action. So here's how we want to work out our speech. Start with a hook, an interesting fact. Give me the history, give me the background. Now tell me about you. Fourth thing you do is tell me about you. And when you tell me about you, tell me why you are the person to give this presentation. Give me the problems, give me the solution. At the end, give me a call to action. If you agree with me, then when you walk out of this room, so here, I'll give you the call to action to the end of this seminar as we're getting close. My call to action to you is go present. Find a friend, present, speak, communicate. That's how you're going to get better at this. I want you to go out, whether you register for this workshop or you want to go and do this on your own, I want you to present over and over and over. That's how you're going to get better. How to deal with questions you don't have an answer. Two ways. The easy way to do this is to simply say, that's a very interesting question. It's very important. We don't have the time to handle it. I will discuss that with you later. That's one way. Another way is, that's a very interesting question. I need more time to research it. Give me a day or two to research this, and I will get back to you afterwards with the answer. There's also something we call the politician's answer, which is how you answer something you don't want to answer. So let's say I'm speaking to you about a new thing we want to do in the company, and you tell me, what about the costs and what about the issues with the oil problem? I go, that's a very important question, and we will handle it. But right now, what is important is to discuss the future and not the past. So I recognize what you have to say, and I give you my own answer that I wanted to speak about. Tips about converting from stage without sounding cringy. How do I break the barrier between us? All right. When it comes to, without sounding cringy, you're in sales. Art of communicating when it comes to sales is never sell. You offer a solution to a problem, not a product to sell. When you come to sell something, whether it's an idea, a person, a CV, you come to sell yourself in a job interview, you're immediately cheap because you're selling yourself. So what do? You highlight the problem and you offer yourself as the solution. You're having problems with your communication. I'm a master at communication. I love teaching communication. Your difficulties are in this. Here's your solution. You want it? Come to me. So you want to bring the sales to you, not the opposite way around. How do I break the barrier between us? Laugh. Smile. It's that easy. All you need is a smile, genuine look in the eyes, and a genuine smile, and you have broken the barrier. It is that simple. Everybody you meet is looking to connect. That is the truth about being human. It is not hard. We're all looking to find a way to connect with each other. All right, as we're getting near to the end here, any other questions? Ask questions, the kids answer. Yes, absolutely. Einstein had a beautiful way of dealing with that. I'm very grateful. Thank you. I really appreciate that you did. Any other questions? Anything else? Oh, how to introduce yourself at an interview. Okay, how to introduce yourself at an interview. Stand out. You want to be remembered at the interview. You want them to know who you are. So you want to highlight their name so that they remember yours. When you walk into an interviewer, they've been seeing people all day, and they're seen as these big evil creatures. They're not. They're human. They want to connect with you. So you connect with them, they will connect with you. Make sure to speak to their name. How to modulate your pitch and delivery. All right, really quickly. It's about your level of excitement. Thank you to me for that smile. It's about the level of your excitement. Whatever energy you come in about, that is what is going to happen. So if I want to talk about something that's sad, if I think about something that's sad, then my voice will drop. If I think of something that's happened, my voice will go up. There's a lot more in all the workshops coming up. Tumi will tell you about them. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Sharif, for your time. Thank you so much for our participants and the engagement. It was really lovely hearing or reading what people had to say. And Sharif, you were really addressing a problem that clearly is so impactful to so many people in the professional world. And so participants, as you can see, here are the upcoming courses that we have with Sharif. Oh, Hershey, look at that comment, Sharif. That's amazing. Thank you so much, everyone. Before people go off, because I know we're rounding up, I would love if there was one word that you could use to describe this webinar this morning and just throw it in the chat. So as I mentioned, these are the courses that Sharif has coming with us at Informa Connect Academy. You will be sent a recording of this webinar, and you will also be sent information to sign up for the courses next month and later on this year. So just going through these comments, power-packed, practical. Wow. Oh, Shamila actually cancelled her meetings. I know she said that she had to go and then she still stayed on the call. So everyone, if you can imagine how this 1 hour webinar has been so impactful, like the full course over 2 days next month, it is like I've been in Sharif sessions and it has really caused me to think. So you'll be gaining so much more for your personal and also professional development. Thank you so much for these words here and the interaction. This has been amazing. This has been amazing. So before we sign off here, we have one last question and I'll take it quickly and I'll ask you, Sharif. Is it true that H2H always wins in any business deal better than business to business? Are emotions important in a business deal?
Okay, so this is the modern kind of misconception. When we talk about being business or being professional, we talk about being non-emotional. Absolute nonsense. It's a total lie. Emotional decisions are the only decisions. Logic is used to justify emotions, not the opposite way around. So if you can control the emotions, if you can control the heart-to-heart, you control the person. A good communicator affects the way you feel. Your logic will follow afterwards.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Guys, so we're literally... Thank you. We're bang out of time. The comments have been phenomenal. So please do feel free to drop off. As mentioned, you will be receiving a webinar link and information of the rest of Sharif's courses. And so please do feel to get in touch. And with all of that being said, have an amazing day. Shamila just wants the last thing that you said.
Just mentioned. All right. Sorry, what was the last thing? Tell me to me, what was the question again?
It was about the heart-to-heart, the business and emotion in business deals.
So yes, I'm sorry, a lot was asked really quickly. So yes, it is all about your emotions. Try to remember this. Logic comes after emotion, not the opposite way around. You are an emotional being, so is your CEO, so is every decision maker in the world. You make them passionate about something, they will find the logic to justify their decision to follow, not the opposite way around. We take decisions with our heart, we live with our heart. Don't forget.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Right, so we've literally got a minute left to spare. Have an amazing day, everyone. Thank you so much for joining, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so much.
What if you and your team can be even more informed, competitive, accomplished, even more successful, with programs designed to inspire and empower everyone to become even more. Introducing Informa Connect Academy. With hundreds of global, digital, and in-person training courses led by world-renowned industry experts, reimagining learning experiences for even more unlocked potential. Informa Connect Academy, available at informaconnect.com/academy.